It's no secret that the past few years, Assassin's Creed has been flip-flopping around when trying to move forward with the franchise. Trying to make something new with the RPG formula, but have failed in some ways of making it feel right within the franchise. Whether it may be the way it's way too focused on the giant open world instead of establishing its characters in that giant open world, or using things established from the franchise and using those things to tell a story that feels near completely detached from the main narrative. When Valhalla was announced earlier this year, I couldn't help but initially be concerned, but reading into it more, I found things that gave me excitement. Things like this will be a grounded Viking experience set in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and it'll actually have an importance to the franchise. And the narrative lead is Dari McDevitt, the same narrative lead for Revelations and Black Flag. Both games have made a significant impact on the franchise and had heavy characterization to help push forward the narrative in a great way. Fast forward to now, as I'm speaking to you now, I put in over 100 hours of Valhalla and I've completed all the main storylines, reached settlement level 6 and killed all of the Order of the Ancients. And to answer the question, is Valhalla an Assassin's Creed game? Yes it is. I'll say it's a near perfect mix between the things that made the old games special and great and learned from the past two RPG titles and improved on all of those systems and added on to them to make, for me personally, one of the best Assassin's Creed experiences for me and a lot of other people as well. And in this video, we'll be going over the story and the gameplay and so on to see how well Assassin's Creed Valhalla gets it right. One of the many things that I love about Assassin's Creed is its overarching narrative, how the Order games have a story so well told about history and adding its own science fiction take to it. Using the Animus to relive memories of Desmond's ancestors, Ezio and Altair, to stop this world-ending event from happening again as it happened to the ones that came before. It sounds simple on paper, but with great characterization, storytelling, and world building, it was something truly special. And explaining why would take up a whole video, but what matters here is that it hasn't been so good until Valhalla. I was pleasantly surprised with how serious things are being taken in Valhalla's modern day. There's good mystery, good stakes, and a credible payoff at the end of it all. Of course, with all the main titles for Assassin's Creed, you're using the Animus to relive memories of people from the past to help uncover the mystery of the modern day, this character being Eivor. Unlike Odyssey, you can now select two different characters, being Cassandra or Alexios. Both options presented to you are both male and female. Both are the same character of Eivor, and there's actually a credible reason behind this and is a part of the story in a meaningful way. I chose the default option to get a better understanding of the game, and both actors who portray Eivor are great and bring something unique to the roles they play. But with Eivor's own story, it's told in a very well done way. Once you leave Norway, you are given an alliance map. This map showcases all the possible alliances you can have. You have a choice of two initially, and those two are the ones that are within your suggested power level. You can go to the map and select the ones you choose, and you are in a 1 to 2 hour arc within that area, all with their own unique story and heavily influenced by its characters. Each arc has a little story within them that you feel like you're a part of. You grow relationships with these characters, your choices and what you may do or react to, and how you choose those choices is based off these characters. It gives engagement to the player, and they all serve Eivor's own story, whether the arc be centered around Eivor herself, the Hidden Ones and the Order of Ancients conflict, or the settlement itself. I don't feel like I'm grinding to level up to the next mission. In fact, I feel like it's incredibly easy to level up. I'm not complaining about that. But once you've completed the epilogue mission, you feel her growth as a character. The events within the story has in fact influenced that growth, and for me personally, that's really satisfying to see that firsthand. The story has moments that leave you asking questions, trying to piece together what just happened, and other sections showing homage to past games, connecting them together while also telling their own story within them. As a person who's played every single mainstream title of Assassin's Creed, it was nice to see this. This game's story makes everything that happened before worth it. Playing all these games, taking the time to learn and invest your time into it, feels rewarding. To have a better understanding of some of the things that are happening. It's great, and I cannot wait for more people to finish the game and experience the ending and start discussing the possibilities that can go next with the franchise. Being this is an Assassin's Creed game, there should be some good distinctions to tell that it is, in fact, a part of the franchise. You have the hidden blade, yes. You do in fact have the option to make every assassination a one-hit kill or leaving that off to play the QTE. Both options are viable choices and help feels like I have an advantage in stealth in a lot of ways, which is something Odyssey and Origins was lacking in some regard. And that has to do with the level design. I mentioned this as the level design affects gameplay and how the player should approach a situation. Odysseys and Origins didn't have the level design that influenced much creativity or unique ways to approach stealth, while this game does, allowing for rafters and buildings or have different pathways that can take you to a position that gives you the upper hand. In a lot of situations, there is even a mission where you can assassinate a boss and avoid the whole fight with him. There are cities or town sections that are considered distrust zones where you have to utilize Valhalla's social stealth gameplay elements, such as blending into a crowd of monks or sitting on a bench or making a distraction with a drunk person to attract the guards away from their posts. Within the story, there are whole arcs dedicated to assassinating targets utilizing these gameplay features, and what I greatly appreciate the most playing this game is that it gives me the vibes I haven't felt since AC1, walking through the streets of Winchester, making my way to the main mission, avoiding guards as getting caught can get me detected, and for that I was so surprised with how much these features feel so integral to the gameplay. I couldn't be more happy with that. Now, this is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and you're playing as a Viking. You expect the combat to be brutal, and I can say after many hours of playing, it is in fact brutal. Best, Valhalla's combat will have you chopping off limbs, throwing spears back at enemies, and doing brutal finishers that have you stabbing people, stomping people, and the list goes on. And at first, it may feel and look all over the place, but once you have an understanding of how everything works, to time your parries and what each attack button can do, it feels so good and is very engaging, especially once you have a weapon that you like. All the weapon types are unique. They all have different strengths and weaknesses and are good in their own way. And what gets interesting is the dual wielding. It can actually have an impact on how combos can be done and play out. And I was pleasantly surprised by how good it is when you reach the end game and have some abilities like dual swap and such. This combat combined with its abilities adds some nice depth to the combat. A light combo attack straight into a kick of tear is a nice, or for stealth scenarios, using a poison gas cloud to easily clear out a group of enemies. The abilities aren't over the top or godly like in Odyssey, and the abilities as a whole aren't always needed to be utilized, as they're interchangeable and you can use which one you want to use or not. Exploration in open world games is essential to player time and engagement, and Valhalla handles it really well in terms of visuals, but on making the world more interesting itself. Within each region, there are different blips in different colors. Blue means mysteries, which can lead to a world event, an Adam's anomaly or a mushroom, and some other unique gameplay challenges. The same level of detail can be applied to wealth and mysteries, and it isn't told to you immediately what it is specifically. You have to approach it yourself for you to actually find out what it is, but you have a general idea of what it could be, and that allows for the player's curiosity to be piqued. Oh, this wealth can be another piece of the armor set I want to complete, or this mystery can be for another treasure of England and such. There is some challenge or something to everything you find within the world, like a mini puzzle or a story to be told, and I appreciate some of that level of uniqueness to what you may find within these activities that you find while exploring. Now, the world itself is not only beautiful and can be very vast at times, but it's very diverse in a lot of places. Just look at the clips that are being shown, and at times it's like you're in a painting, and the different colored palettes and the different usage of lighting is so well done here that I have to give praise, as it's clear to me that there's been a lot of time taken to capture its beauty. There'll be times I'll just find myself walking and taking in the sights when in between missions or exploring, with the great pieces of music from the soundtrack adding on to the ambient vibes. In summary, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game that will surprise you, not only by its twists and narrative devices, but how crafted this game is. It has a lot of immense passion and heart put into it, and I for one appreciate that. Whether it be with its return with old and iconic mechanics, or finally having a meaningful story to the modern day and pushing the narrative forward, while also telling a personal story with Eivor, while also giving the fans some reward to glory. It leaves me excited and thinking about the possibilities the games can go now, and I only hope it can go well from here.